The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Meridian, Idaho, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 37628. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation. Starting just under the front bumper, you'll find 2 attachment points. Moving up onto the angled edge of the front bumper, you'll find your electronic siren and PA speaker. Just inside that location, dual air horns. Directly in the center in the notch is where you'll find your mechanical siren. As we move up onto the top of the bumper extension onto the passenger side, you'll find your front inlet. Next to the front inlet is a tubbed storage location for hose storage with Velcro tie downs. Moving to the driver's side, additional storage location for your front bumper load, and also a front discharge swivel located on the driver's side. Moving up to the face of the cab, you'll find a turn indicator marker light on the outer edge. Just inside that location is the headlight structure, housing low and high beam headlights. High beam will be located on the inside. Directly above that, you'll find emergency warning lights. There are 4 forward facing. Grab handles are located just beneath the window area, and there are 3 windshield wipers across the seamless one-piece windshield. Moving to the outer edge of the A-pillar is where you'll find the mirror housing a flat and convex mirror. Moving up to the brow, 5 identification clearance lights, and located in the center, a forward-facing floodlight. As we move up onto the roof of the cab, you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Located inside the light bar in the center is where you'll find your opticom. Let's go ahead and take a look at a full view of the apparatus from the driver's side. We'll focus in on the cab section next. In the center of the axle, visual sight gauge indicator, Alcoa wheel, and Goodyear tire. Moving to the forward bumper extension, a side-facing emergency warning light. Moving into the stepwell area is where you'll find your air inlet. You'll also find shoreline inlets. There are 2, and we'll go over those in detail in just a few moments. Moving to the rear of the cab area, pan door gains you access, lift and turn to your DEF tank. Moving up onto the front A-pillar, turn indicator marker. Easily accessible with a gloved hand. These are your door lock and latch, keyed. Right next to that, you'll find grab handles for gaining entry and exit into the cab. There is also no additional door and storage location directly behind the driver's seat. T-handle gains you access into this space, in addition with an additional storage on the rear cab wall. As we move up to the very top section of the rear cab, you'll find a side-facing scene light. Moving into the pump panel area, down at the lower portion, you'll find some additional drains located here, in addition with a tubbed storage location on the side of the running board. Moving up under the small step is where you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light. There are 2 2.5-inch discharges, large diameter inlet, American flag eagle Pierce logo, in addition with your foam function lever, which we'll go over in a few moments, and a lift and turn latch will gain you access to the pump panel behind this area. There are also drop-down steps located on the front of the body section. Moving now to the pump panel area, we've clustered items within these area. These are your discharges located on the very far right for your cross-lay and front bumper, tank to pump and recirculating line, and fill. You'll also find your master stream, 2.5-inch discharges, large diameter passenger side discharge. Moving to the left on the far side is where you'll find your auxiliary inlet on the passenger side. That's a 2.5 inch. Moving further up onto the upper panel is where you'll find an electric valve which controls the front inlet and also a bleeder. Specifications for your Husky system. The Husky 3 foam system module with instructions for its operations and specifications. Foam level indicator. Pressure throttle governor and water tank level indicator. Into the very center you'll find the gray module which houses your master intake gauge and master discharge gauge, along with test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure, which are currently plugged and utilized for testing purposes. Engine cooler, fire pump primer, additional set of gauges here for your engine along with tally lights. We'll go over that in detail. And then moving to the very far right, an indicator in the switch panel here for OK to pump, additional switching for scene lights, and then also a red push button for activation of the air horn. You'll also find the minimum operation maintenance schedule placard located in the lower section. Your pump is a Watrous 1500 GPM pump. The minimum operation maintenance schedule for 150, 200, and 250 PSI test pressures. The associated GPM is on the left side of the placard. The right side houses the RPM at that test pressure with a governed speed while in pump mode, 2050 RPMs. As we move to the body section, you'll find a foot switch in the lower portion for your reel rewind, folding wheel chocks, one in front and one to the rear of the axle. You'll also see a slight glimpse here of your tire chains. As we move up, a turn indicator marker light. Pan door gains you access into SCBA bottle storage locations for 3 bottles. Emergency warning light is lower zone. And then also the ultra low sulfur diesel fill location behind the silver pan door. As we move up to the very top, emergency warning light, side and rear facing. Let's take a look at the rear portion of the apparatus, starting out at the lower portion with an emergency warning light, brake, turn, and reverse light cluster. Moving further up, you'll find additional steps for gaining access to the hose bed area, rear facing scene light, and an emergency warning light at the very top section. As we move down onto the driver's side rear, you'll find a rear discharge. Also, just underneath the hose bed area is where you'll find your backup camera. Hose bed dividers. There are 2 movable dividers here, and then also additional hose storage locations here at the rear of the apparatus. Full view of the passenger side of the vehicle. Let's start with the rear body. Same configuration and layout, although we have our exhaust and then also ladder rack and also a foot pedal for your booster reel rewind. At the very top, your equipment rack. Moving forward to this location to the midsection where you'll find an access panel door. You'll also find your powered equipment rack module with instructions for raise and lower, some additional warning and caution and danger placards, in addition with your cab lift for tilting the cab, a 2.5 inch discharge. As we move downward on the pump panel, you'll find an additional access door. The American flag Eagle Pierce logo is your passenger side pump inlet. And then the passenger side large diameter discharge, a pan door, and then also the 2.5 inch auxiliary inlet. Moving further down, you'll find color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Also in the side running board area, you'll find additional hose storage with Velcro tie downs. Moving forward to this location, you'll also find an emergency warning light, our Speedlay cross lace located behind the black cover. Moving further up onto the rear cab wall is where you'll find backboard storage. Let's move toward the front section of the cab area. Same configuration and layout as you have on the driver's side. As we look at the front bumper area, we'll highlight a few items here with your front inlet, storage location for your front inlet hose, and then your discharge swivel 1.5 inch, foam capable. As we move around now into the driver's space, let's start first with the door panel, a fixed door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch combination, and then as we move up, window control for all 4 cab windows and a grab handle. Let's go ahead and move inside to the cab area on the driver's side. Let's start first down low at the stepwell area. In the forward section of the stepwell is where you'll find your air inlet. You'll also find the shoreline inlet, 20 amp auto eject, and shoreline inlet for the IRT, 20 amp auto eject. When plugged into shoreline power, your battery status center will illuminate indicating battery charge. You'll also find this yellow placard indicating date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, cold tire inflation, the VIN number, all of the fluid capacities for each component, fluid capacity, and also fluid type. Moving about the left knee of the operator, you'll find the master battery switch, engine, transmission, ABS J1939 diagnostic port for your maintenance team, ABS diagnostics, DPF regen, engine diagnostics indicator, and regen inhibit switch. Just above that, you'll find a load manager. As we move to the opposite side of the column, your pump shift, there are instructions from road to pump, and then also instructions from pump to road. Just as a reminder, for pump operations when exiting the cab, 2 green indicators, pump engaged and OK to pump, must be illuminating. Moving to the cab dash area, you'll find with the ignition and start switch on the far left, switch labeled EM, which stands for Emergency Master. This will engage or disengage all emergency lights. Headlight switch and a panel switch allowing you to brighten or dim lights within preview of the operator. The OK to engage the high idle indicator and switch. Moving up onto the dash cluster, you'll find your transmission, oil, def level, and water temp. On the right side of the cluster, front air, rear air, fuel, and volts. Directly in the center, tachometer and speedometer. Diagnostic information will display above and below the speedometer. Let's move just to the right of this location within reach of the operator, where you'll find a radio push to talk button. General view here of the dash area. Let's start at the very top with a display monitor for your backup camera. Moving just down from this display monitor is where you'll find the yellow diamond, pull to apply your system parking brake, and push to release, Allison transmission pad, push button digital readout, pump and drive note, also some caution and informational notes there. Engine brake on and off switch, settings for low, medium, and high, tire chains, which happens to be a protected switch, and mirror heat. As we move toward the center, you'll find the windshield wiper fluid, push for fluid, and turn right to left for on and off for windshield wipers. Climate control for heat, air conditioning, and defrost. Overhead, you'll find this yellow placard on the left side driver's space indicating the height of the vehicle, 10 feet 5 inches, length 34 feet 7 inches, gross vehicle weight rating 47,000 pounds, with your 5-digit job number 37628-01. Moving further to the right, a switch panel for Emergency Master, roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, and upper rear warning. Let's move just to the right to an additional switch panel which houses high beam flash, your Opticom, a selector for siren or horn, and a red switch which is your siren brake for your mechanical siren. Moving further to the right, we have scene lights for front scene, driver scene, passenger scene, driver flood, passenger flood, and rear scene. Let's move slightly to the right of this switch panel where you'll find the electronic siren and PA control module. In the very center, you'll find your seatbelt information. Red, someone is in the seat and not belted. Green, they're in the seat and belted. In addition, with a warning light indicating do not move your apparatus when light is on, you may have a compartment or door open. General view to the rear portion of the vehicle, there are two forward-facing SCBA seats on a pedestal. We're looking directly behind the driver's seat. And now as we look into the space for additional storage, adjustable shelf, LED lighting inside the compartment. Goodyear tire, Alcoa wheel, visual sight gauge into the very center of the axle. As we move now to the rear cab portion, let's start with that door panel. Affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, electric window control, and a grab handle. Overhead, you'll find push on and off red or white lens lights and your air conditioning unit. The seats are located forward facing on a pedestal. There is access underneath and it is a ventilated compartment. This is a lift and turn latch which will gain you access to the rear portion of the engine for your daily checks for oil and transmission. As we look now to the pedestal area just inside, there are two forward-facing doors in this location under each seat area. As we look to the rear cab wall, you'll find your intercom system, headset location, hangers, and also plug-in. As we move to the rear cab exterior, you'll find your storage location on the exterior. Just underneath that is a 4.5 blue cap, which is your def fill location. Backboard storage on the rear cab wall, accessible from the passenger and driver's side. Let's take a look at the pump panel area here on the driver's side. First, starting with your cross-lay speed lays, there are two located here. In addition, with some warning placards. Warning indicating fall hazard. When climbing onto the vehicle, always face the vehicle. Warning, entanglement hazard. Lines may be under pressure and there may cause an entanglement hazard. Also, caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when removing those caps. To the right, fall hazard. Never ride on the vehicle while it's in motion and always face when climbing on or off. 2.5-inch discharge, large diameter inlet, wattress placard indicating the type of pump that you have. Also a foam failure warning here. Do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of failure. Your foam draft foam tank lever. Color-coded and labeled discharge drains at the very bottom section. Also your foam drain, and also instructions on operation for foam and foam fill, which will match this placard to the yellow handle just inside this compartment. A floating running board hose storage location with retaining straps. Foam pump discharge drain, foam pump intake drain. This is just under that running board area. As we move inside the body compartments, we'll start at the very top section with your air compressor and also battery charger. When plugged into Shoreline power, the air compressor and battery charger will activate, maintaining both air pressure and battery voltage. At the very bottom, a pull-out tray release mechanism located on the right-hand side. Just underneath the compartment, a foot pedal for your hose reel rewind. As we move to the compartment directly over the rear axle, D-handle gains you access to the toolboard back wall where you have an additional storage and also a release mechanism on the hinge section of the toolboard. 3 SCBA bottle storage locations with retaining straps. Alcoa wheel and Goodyear tire in the location of the rear axle. As we move up from this location, the ultra low sulfur diesel fill, which is your silver cap. As we move further to the rear of the apparatus, you'll find adjustable shelving, a pull-out tray, and dry deck material, in addition with pegboard on the rear wall. Shoreline outlet, meaning when these When this vehicle is plugged into shoreline power, those outlets will become active. Full view of all compartments open on the driver's side. Let's move around to the rear of the apparatus. First, let's start with all compartments open, and then we'll focus in on a few items within this area. First, let's start with the warning placards indicating fall hazard. When climbing on and off, always face the vehicle. Also, warning fall hazard, never ride on the vehicle while it is in motion. In addition, with a warning regarding pressure hazard, caps may be under pressure. We also have a driver rear 2.5-inch discharge. As we look inside the compartment, a full pull-out tray on the lower portion and an upper portion pull-out tray. Release mechanism located on the right and in the center area. Additional hose trays at the very rear section. As we move around to the passenger side, shoreline outlet. When plugged into shoreline, this is active, along with dry deck material, LED lightings, 2 trays, upper and lower, release mechanisms on the right-hand side. As we move to the center compartment, you'll find an adjustable shelf. As we move downward to the rear of the axle, you'll find the equipment rack hydraulic reservoir. Also a placard indicating the type of hydraulic oil. Moving down once again to the rear axle, where you'll find Goodyear tire and Alcoa wheels. Moving forward of the rear axle, SCBA bottle storage for 3 bottles with retaining straps. Moving down, you'll find your exhaust and also a warning placard indicating extremely hot diesel exhaust temperatures do exist, especially during regen operation. Be cautious where you choose to park your vehicle. As we move forward to that location, adjustable shelves, ventilation, LED lighting, and a pull-out tray in the lower portion of this compartment. Then we'll move just under the body section where you'll find your hose reel rewind foot switch. Moving now to the mid-section of the apparatus, let's start with the pump panel area where you'll find an access door. Also, warning regarding fall hazard. Always face the vehicle while climbing on and off. Additional warning here regarding entanglement hazard. Because the line's coming just to the right of this location, there is the possibility of entanglement. Your powered equipment rack with instructions to raise and lower, in addition with a danger placard because of that movement. And also a cab lift where instructions for its operation with caution and danger placards. In addition with a warning, pressure hazard, caps may be under pressure. Because of the cab lift, we do have this caution: ensure that your front inlet swivel is facing forward before raising the cab. As we look into the pump panel area for an inspection door, then as we move to the panel area, you'll find your large diameter pump inlet and also large diameter passenger side discharge. An additional warning here regarding fall hazard with climbing on and off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. An additional inspection access door. At the very bottom section, your passenger side auxiliary inlet. This is controlled from a ball valve just above this location. And a front inlet drain. Moving to the running board where you'll have a floating hose storage location, dry deck, and also storage location tie downs. Access to the cross lays. Rear cab wall where you'll find the accessible passenger and driver side backboard storage. You also have additional storage within the steps on the passenger and driver side. As we now look to the pump panel, just a quick identifier for some close-ups. We start in the upper portion, front inlet air bleeder, Husky 3 foam system, module, and also foam level. In control, pressure throttle governor, water tank level indicator. Engine information with tally lights for stop engine, and check transmission with an audible alarm just beneath the check transmission area. Caution indicating at least 1,000 RPMs for best practices for operating your primer. Discharge is located here, color-coded and labeled, in addition with a foam placard indicating which controls are foam capable, a warning placard regarding fall hazard, never ride on the vehicle, your minimum operation maintenance schedule, and also a warning: only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment only after receiving proper training. To the right, you can see the front discharge and then also the additional discharges. One of those is foam capable with a red placard. Moving now forward into the cab section. We're in the rear portion of the cab area. As we look inside and go to the door panel area, fixed to that door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, electric window control, grab handle. Air conditioning unit, storage, and also push on and off red or white lens lights. 2 forward-facing SCBA contained in the back seats. As we look directly behind the officer and driver's head, you'll find an additional topside storage at roof level. General view here into the section behind the officer seat, adjustable shelf. As we move into the officer seat area, we'll start first with the door panel. Affixed to that door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, window control, and a grab handle. This vehicle is equipped with a supplemental restraint system, an airbag. We have a warning regarding its occupant crash protection. Also, a foot pedal at the floor level for your mechanical siren for activation. 2 12-volt access via barrel style. You also find these red and white wiring indicators indicating spare wiring behind the panel. Please do not remove these until your maintenance team has had an opportunity to evaluate. Also on the side, you'll find 12-volt access via barrel style. Push to talk for your radio system headset. Overhead, you'll find a digital speedometer, some additional warning placards indicating spare wire behind those panels, indicating what the spare wiring option number. Intercom system module for your Sigtronic system. Full view of the entire apparatus with all compartment doors open on the passenger side. We'll now look at the ladder rack, which contains within that ladder rack a 24-foot extension, a 14-foot roof, a 10-foot attic, and then also 10-foot drafting tubes. There are 2 located, one above each other. As we move to the rear hosebed area, there are 2 movable hosebed dividers. Into the dunnage section where you'll find top fill for your foam tank. We do have a warning placard located here. Do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. Your water tank, top fill location. Into the dunnage area, you'll find your Husky 3 hydraulic reservoir along with your booster reel. This is the fill location for that hydraulic reservoir, the black cap down in the lower portion. On the reel itself, it has a free tension spool and then also manual crank rewind. Moving now to the center of the dunnage area where you'll find your master stream device with an extend-a-gun. This is an instructional placard. General view of the entire dunnage and front section of the pump area. As we move forward to this location, this is the location for your backboard storage, and then also on top for a little giant storage location. We do have some placards located in this area. This is a non-walking surface. Now the rest of the images will be that of the cab tilt and chassis area. Let's go ahead and move to the cab tilt. Once the cab is fully tilted with pressure behind both right and left cylinders, maintain pressure. Please install the safety bar. Once the bar is located in position, do not lower the cab onto the safety bar. Maintain equal pressure on the right and left cab cylinders. As we move a few things on the engine, this is your radiator recovery tank, power steering fluid, visual indicator and fill location, oil and transmission dipsticks. Moving forward to the battery area, you'll find termination plugs down at the very bottom for your jumper cables, your DEF fill location, which is the blue cap. As we move through the rest of the images, these are additional photos for your assistance in locating items. There will be no audio from this point forward. This will conclude the additional images. Congratulations, Meridian, Idaho Fire, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 37628. If you have any questions, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.